But this year, the goal when I invited John was to pick his brain on his perspective on digital. When you think about John Kois, you think about many things, not necessarily about digital. And this is actually a wrong perception that we usually have, because he is not digital or analog. He is just evidence-based, pragmatic. Whatever is working, he talks about it. So he embraced in the digital journey several years ago, and his center became an expert center on digital technology. And 3, 2, 1, and we are back with Coffee Break with Coachman, with me, Christian, and my dear friend Kirk Berendt. As usual, we're gonna have just a very cool conversation about what's going on in our worlds. On this episode, we're gonna talk about the course with John Kois that just happened in Miami, the outcomes, the lessons, the insights, and the surprises, and also talk about the next big course that we are organizing, the IntraOral Scanner Festival in Modena. Very unique program. We're going to talk about the details as well. So I hope you enjoy.
My dear friend, Dr. Christian Coachman, who I haven't had a chance to speak to for many weeks because he's been crazy busy. We're going to be talking about one of the things that he embarked on, one of the largest events in dentistry, the coolest events in dentistry that's happened in the last couple of months, where he joined forces with Dr. John Kois. So, Christian, thanks for being back, brother. Always great to have you here.
Always a pleasure to be here and share what is going on our side of the world.
I would love for people to just, get everybody caught up. What were you doing with Dr. John Kois, and what was the purpose? And let's talk about some of the outcomes.
Yeah, we talked about this event a couple of months ago before the event happened, the intentions of it. And first of all, it was an amazing experience. I introduced the course by saying to everybody that was there that it was probably the most relevant moment of my professional career as a speaker, to be sharing the stage with John Kois at this stage of his career. I think probably the biggest icon in our dental world today, living icon that we have, somebody that developed a project in education that is so well known all over. So the fact that he accepted this challenge of putting a program outside his center with me, sharing the stage, and just exploring new topics was really amazing. The first thing that was important for me as an outcome was to see him very, very happy at the end, and to have him saying that he really enjoyed. So for me, that was the best part of all. But I think we were able to share useful content and to bring insights to the crowd that people were able to take home and take advantage of it.
Yeah. And just to set the stage, this was 2 full days. It was in Miami, Florida. And it wasn't just the two of you. You brought supporting team members.
Yeah, exactly. So this is part of a project that we started here at DSD to organize, besides our regular programs that are usually for a small group of students. We embarked on this project of organizing one bigger event per year, always in Miami, in a beautiful venue that we are getting familiar with. We really love the venue, and the structure is like an amphitheater. It doesn't look like a normal hotel room, dental lecture hotel room. Very cool venue in Brickell, so very cool area. We started last year with the Kois-Coachman course, and we did this 180 degrees shift from APA to Kois with the Kois-Coachman event this year. And we already have actually the next year event date and program that is going to be co-hosted with Dr. Miguel Stanley. So another huge name, and a different topic, like the APA to Kois was a completely different topic. Me playing more the moderator and really trying to get the best out of these amazing professionals. Next year will be with Miguel Stanley, and we're going to talk about what we call Dentistry 3.0, or the integrative oral physician, or the oral systemic link, or the body-mouth connection, you name it. We're going to bring some great experts on this topic that, as we discussed before here, I believe is the biggest trend in dentistry beyond digital, beyond AI, is this holistic systemic view of the patient and understanding in a much deeper way how dentistry can impact longevity and people's health. So this is going to be next year. We're going to talk more about this in the future. But this year, the goal when I invited John was to pick his brain on his perspective on digital. When you think about John Kois, you think about many things, not necessarily about digital. And this is actually a wrong perception that we usually have, because he is not digital or analog. He is just evidence-based, pragmatic. Whatever is working, he talks about it. So he embraced in the digital journey several years ago, and his center became an expert center on digital technology. Basically, he really jumped into this topic when he hired probably the number one expert on digital evidence-based publications, that is Marta Revilla, that is now for a few years already official part of the Kois Center. She's in charge of all the research that is happening at the Kois Center. You can imagine how big this position is, how important it is. And she really kicked ass. It was unbelievable. I mentioned to the whole crowd after she finished her first lecture in the program, that was probably the best lecture I ever saw on digital dentistry. And I really mean it. It was a standing ovation, and really very, very good combination between science, technology, techniques, and teaching skills. She's going to be the next educator superstar for sure in our profession. And it was amazing to be able to share the stage. In several moments during the course was John Kois, her, and me interacting on stage and having this organized but casual kind of interaction on all the topics that we were discussing. I think that was the highlight of the course and what people liked the most. She giving her lectures with all the science behind all the technologies, what works, what doesn't, why, how, all the variables, and me being able to stop her in certain moments and ask her the questions, and ask her to explain it in a different perspective. And then John would jump in and interact as well. So I think that was extremely special. And I really hope to do more of these programs with Marta.
Yeah. Any surprises that come to mind that you were like, I didn't know that, from Marta?
Her lecture about scanners was from A to Z. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I didn't know that. And everything so well explained. As we know, scanners are the gateway to modern dentistry. And I always say, poor scanning is very expensive for a dentist. Poor scanning is a very expensive mistake. The same way that in the past, having a poor regular impression or a poor high precision silicone impression, that mistake was very expensive, because it would mean having to redo an expensive restoration, having to reschedule a patient, having to waste 2, 3, 4 hours appointment, having to repay for a work that the lab needs to redo, or having a procedure fail after a few years instead of lasting many years. So it is a very expensive mistake to record wrong data from the patient, regardless of which type of data. Capturing wrong data is an expensive mistake. And if you talk about scanning, if you talk about restorative, it's even a more expensive mistake. And the problem is that many times dentists buy a scanner and they scan the arch and they think problem solved. It's like digital will do the magic of fixing all the mistakes. The scanner is always precise, and many times if we don't pay attention, we don't realize there are distortions, there are issues, there are mistakes in that scan. So I think that now that 2/3 of dentists do have a scanner and many are using it daily, it's time for us to shift gears and take the conversation to the next level. That is, become an ultra uber expert master on scanning, because that is your foundation for any work that you're going to do on top of it. And there's so many tips and tricks and techniques that we need to understand, and that was why I really loved what Marta was saying, because she brought she brought light to many of these details that people don't even think. Another problem is that many doctors that are scanning a lot, they think, oh, I'm an expert on scanning, and most are not. And we get the results here in the lab. As I usually say, having a lab gives us a unique advantage point, that is getting a lot volume of cases, right? So if a dentist has a certain issue 2-3 times a month, we have 500 clients, so we have that same issue 1,500 times a month, not 3 times a month. So we see the recurring mistakes, we see the bottlenecks, we see the trends in the lab. We realize that scanning is still an art and a technique that dentists need to invest more to learn. And usually dental companies don't give you the whole information. They give you the basics. They give you the foundation. And we need to learn from the masters and from evidence-based content. What are the tricks, tips, and techniques that we need to incorporate and teach our team? Many times the assistant is the one doing it, and incorporating these distortions and mistakes and limitations. So I think it's a topic that it's worth investing. And that's why we also have our other major event, yearly event, is the IntraOral Scanner Festival that we do once a year, right? We did it last year. We're doing it again this May. Hopefully this episode will come out before our event in May, so we can say, join us in May in Italy for the one and only course, 100% only about scanners.
So let me ask you, first of all, that's a pretty cool place to go, period. But if I'm a dentist listening, why do I want to go to this event? Tell us what's going to happen.
So in Modena, since we diagnosed this bottleneck of quality on scanning. And usually, of course, digital topics are now the main topics of any congress. But usually when people talk about digital, they like to talk about everything. Everybody wants to show everything, and we lose focus. So I decided, to create an event that was only 100% about scanners. So 2 days only about scanning. Everything you need to know about scanning. All the brands. So we're going to have all the brands there. We're going to have all the major scanner companies there represented. And we're going to break it down into 6 major workflows and how the scanner is key in these 6 workflows. But we're only going to talk about the scanning procedure. We're not going to waste anybody's time with everything else. And we're going to have 1 expert per brand. And we're going to bring the topic 1, for example, or topic 2 is veneers, for example. How to scan veneers, a veneer case. What are the major challenges of scanning a veneer case? We're going to introduce the main challenges, me and Angelo from the lab perspective. And then we're going to give just a few minutes for each expert from each brand to defend their point, defend their position, explain how they do it with their own scanner, with their own brand. And we're going to play the devil's advocate and ask the tough questions, and then start comparing the different scanners and techniques to try to get to a consensus, try to clarify the comparison between the techniques and brands. And of course, bring it back to evidence-based and articles that were published, but comparing the techniques. So we're going to do like a round table, and each one will be able to defend their point, and then open for open discussion among all of them, and hopefully get to the end with some conclusions, and then go to the next topic. Scanning a partial implant case, quadrant dentistry, single implant restorations, or small bridge. Okay, what are the most common mistakes that we see happening? This, and this, and this. How to overcome this? Okay, speaker from iTero Lumina, how do you overcome this? 5 minutes. Okay, you from 3Shape, how do you overcome this? You from Medit, you from Shiny 3D, you from Sirius, Pick Camera, Pick Dental, and all the systems that we have available. Primescan, how do you overcome? And we're going to start seeing the differences in protocols. We're going to start learning what is a specific, is it a difference because the scanner requires a different approach, or is because it's just a different technique itself? And if you have an X scanner, how do you take it to the next level?
Yeah. All right. You're leaving out like some really great details, though. This is going to be May 18th. It's a 4-day experience. And you're leaving out like my favorite part. You have a Ferrari and Lamborghini driving experience. What is that?
I'm going to explain it because the social part of this program is worth it just by itself. Okay. But I don't want people to think that it's all about the socials, because the program is the one and only. It's unique. It's amazing. You're going to have the best experts on each scanner that are really using it every day. We handpicked the people that we know are doing amazing with their scanner and are using every day. They're not just teaching it, they are using every day. They're all running successful practices. I didn't want to bring professional speakers that are more speaking than doing clinical work, right? I wanted to bring clinicians that were courageous enough to convert their practice 100% into scanning. Okay, so people that went through the struggle and the learning curve of adopting, implementing, onboarding the staff, learning the tricks and tips, making the mistakes, failing over and over again, overcoming the failures, mastering the workflow, and now thriving and succeeding with their scanners. Okay, so these are the people that are coming, and then we're going to put them face to face to compare and see, the differences. But on top of that, the social part, right? This program, the course is 2 days. On the website, you have 4 days because we start the afternoon before, and we on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the course, and it continues Sunday. And why is that? Because the course always happens on the Formula One Monza Grand Prix weekend. So that area, that city of Modena is the center of racing in the world that weekend, right? The Formula One weekend. We were able to develop this program only because my co-host, the co-organizer of this course, is Andrea Agnini. That is one of the best digital dentistry experts in the world, with 2 amazing books published on this topic, that I was co-author of one of them, and one of the best speakers for Align and iTero. And he's going to be also lecturing at the course, but he's going to be co-hosting me with me, and is our host of the event, of the socials. He is from Modena. And many of the things that I'm going to tell you that we're going to do, it's only possible if you are from Modena. If you are a tourist, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you cannot do all these things the way we're going to do, right? We're going to start with a visit at the Ferrari factory, the Ferrari track. We're going to be able to drive real race cars ourselves in the racing track. First, we're going to drive with professional drivers. We're going to be on the side. I can tell you it's unforgettable. And then we're going to switch, and we're going to drive a couple laps ourselves, 300 kilometers per hour, insane, crazy. We're going to visit the Ferrari Museum with the special guide, the best guide that will guide us through a visit that is different than the average. We're going to have a dinner in one of the nights. Dinner at the Ferrari Museum. After the Ferrari Museum closes for the public, we're going to be there with the museum, because there's 2 museums. The second museum will be with a special show, special exhibit, and we're going to have the whole museum just for us, and the tables will be set among the cars. So you're going to have the Ferrari since the 30s, 40s, all the way to now, and we're going to be having Michelin star type of food in between the cars. The course involves the best boutique hotel in the area. We closed the whole hotel. There are 55 rooms. We have the 55 rooms just for us. So 10 rooms for the speakers, 45 rooms for the participants. The hotel is amazing. And you can imagine on the Formula One weekend, how special that is to be in the best hotel in the area in the Formula One weekend. Another Michelin restaurant inside the hotel, amazing bar at the rooftop. We're going to have an amazing evening, DJ, special music, drinks, and food just for us. We're going to have the second dinner will be at the Pavarotti Museum, because Modena is known as the home of Ferrari and the home of Pavarotti. Luciano Pavarotti is also from Modena. His mansion was transformed into a museum. And we're also going to have a special visit at this museum and a dinner inside the mansion with special, very special experience as well. Amazing music, amazing performances, amazing food, amazing experience. And on Sunday, of course, is the Formula One race. So the Agninis were able to organize very, very special tickets for us to be in the paddock, meaning above the boxes, above where all the VIP people are. Whoever wants to extend their stay into Sunday and join us in the race, we're going to have a special box there over the pit where all the cars will stop, and with a special view of the racetrack. Amazing food again, amazing experience, amazing people, amazing everything. So that's why I said, we have people, and we have a special price for our companions. So the course is $6,000. That includes everything, hotel and experiences and food and Michelin and everything. And the companion, I think if you pay 1,000 extra, you can take a companion. So with $7,000, you and your wife, husband can come to the course. You have this amazing program, and then you can enjoy together all the social events, stay Sunday, and see the race.
Christian, that's amazing. That's like a no-brainer. So if you're listening to the podcast, we're going to put a link down in the show notes. You can flip up to the link. And even if you're not in the market for a scanner, I would tell you got to go. So and if you're in the market for a scanner, now you really have to go. You don't have an excuse not to go. So
we built the program so whatever scanner you have today, you can take its utilization to the next level. Whatever level you are in terms of scanning, you're going to take this to the next level. This is a course for experts as well. If you are an expert, you're going to grow into an even higher level with the one scanner you already have. But also the program is designed because everybody that has a scanner is usually thinking, what is my next scanner? Do I buy the same brand? Do I buy a different brand? Why? And this comparison is also going to happen there. So take your existing scanner to the next level and learn everything to make a best decision of what is your next scanner.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just something you have to check out. I hear this from everybody all the time. The education is top notch, but the social is even more incredible. So make sure you check it out. And speaking of top notch, let's go back to Kois and that event. And I want you to share with our listeners some other, revelations or big things that came about.
I think that one very important take-home message for me of this course with Kois that happened a few weeks ago is the fact that somebody like Kois, I usually like to define, one of the ways I define Kois is like zero tolerance to BS, zero tolerance to show off, is just what is real. And to see John endorsing and embracing complete digital workflows, right? And really admitting or even embracing the idea that there's no way back. I think that's a very important landmark in digital dentistry evolution. You probably can divide digital dentistry in before complete endorsement of Kois and after complete endorsement of Kois. It means it's not anymore just people like me excited about digital, right? Or people that are involved directly on the digital dentistry business. But it's somebody like Kois saying, this is the way to go. This is what you need to do today. This is how you take your dentistry to the next level. So I think that was very clear on the course. And everybody left understanding that there's no way out. You need to invest on your digital know-how, on your digital tools, on your digital workflows, and on your digital lab relationship. And if you want to stay ahead of the game, if you are already a great dentist, that's how you're going to take your work to the next level. As we always say, digital dentistry will not transform a bad dentist into a good one, but will take a good one to the next level. So you have the foundation, you did your homework, you are a great clinician. Now it's time to take your work to the next level, powered by digital.
Awesome. Awesome. And then anything that surprised you from what John presented? Because you're pretty tight with John. Did he have a curveball for you at all?
Yeah. That was first I was surprised, of course, I mentioned about the lectures from Marta. Was actually, even though I knew her name very well, I know her articles very well. It was the first time ever that I met her in person, actually. And the first time that I saw her lecture. And I was blown away, right? So that was, even though I was expecting a lot from her, she surprised me for good, even more, above and beyond that. But they did show a solution that I think was very, very cool, very useful, and very surprising. And it's a workflow to create a patient avatar, the digital patient, right? To combine all the files of the patient. We know that we have at DSD, the DSD workflow that really pioneered the dental facial digital connection, right? By combining smartphone facial pictures with STLs and bringing that to the software and being able to generate facially driven designs, facially driven treatment plan in digital. Kois was always into conventional articulators. He developed his facial analyzer, his facial devices that he recognizes, glasses that he uses to try to transfer facial information to the lab. This is probably one of the few things that we never really agreed on, me and John. Since many years I've been saying it makes no sense for me to use any kind of facial devices over the patient's face to share the face with the lab, because we can successfully take simple facial pictures, calibrate with the STL, and bring it to the software and then do the whole analysis on a digital articulator. We also, been teaching about how to take pictures on what they call the natural head position, that is a standardized position of the face, to be able to bring this facial cross into the software and do even more precise planning. John Kois was always arguing that with his facial analyzer or with his face glasses, you could add extra information. I never really agreed with that. So there was a block. There's a moment on the course that he was going to talk about occlusion and dental facial interaction. And I was already expecting him to bring these topics, and I already had my armamentarium, my guns ready to discuss, disagree, and ask him to explain better these points, right? And people were kind of waiting for this moment. People that know me and know him very well. Many people in the course did my courses, did his courses, and they were kind of excited to see this discussion at this moment. But he surprised me because he gave a lecture about the evolution of mounting this digital patient, right? So he started with conventional articulators, face bows, then simplified articulators, and then his facial analyzer, and then his glasses. And I was about to start asking the questions when, you know, John said, wait a moment, because now we're going to launch here, we're going to present here for the first time ever what is the actual protocol nowadays. And then I asked, that means that everything you're showing so far is not necessary anymore? And he said, yes. That means that if I agree with the new way, we can forget about the past and be completely aligned and agree on a better new way of doing it. And he said, yes. So they presented what they call the Kois block. That is a device, very simple device that you can print on your chairside printer that has a level in it that you can put on the patient's mouth very easily, and then scan the patient's face. And you can scan the patient's face with simple applications now on your phone. And with this little device, you can do two things. You can perfectly match the facial scan with the intraoral scan. That's number one. But number two, you can mount the 3D patient's face in the software on the perfect natural head position. So you kill two problems in one shot. Very simple, completely inexpensive. And to make it even better, John was giving away the files, meaning everybody could download the files of that device for free to print it chairside and be able to scan the patient's face with it, scan the patient's mouth, send the files to the lab, and the lab could merge everything and create this perfect avatar. So for me, that was one of the highlights. And as you said, there was a moment that he surprised me beyond my expectations with such a simple and smart solution.
Yeah, I have to know because I wasn't there. Was he ready for you when you had your you know your material prepared because you knew this was coming?
Uh, I have a feeling that John is always ready for these type of discussions. I don't believe he was going to convince me because I'm very on this specific topic. I'm very strong about it, and I had this conversation with him before, and he was never able to convince me of the need of his facial analyzer or the glasses. And I still believe that we can get the same quality without it. But now, he said, basically, he said, don't, let's not even spend time discussing this because there's something that probably will be better and solve the problems and everybody can use it.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Any other surprises or collective revelations you guys had together with this group in Miami?
Um, you know, I have to mention it was not only me, John, and Marta. There was a very special lecture between John and his son, Dean Kois. And it was super cool because they were interacting, making fun of each other on stage. Uh, and the lecture was all about collaboration and how can digital improve this collaboration, right? I thought it was an amazing lecture, very realistic, showing their journey to work with digital and to work together, right? It was super cool to see Dean. I know Dean. I met Dean several times before. First time I saw Dean lecturing, and Dean is also a very good speaker, very good teacher, very natural. You see that is somehow genetic there. But he was very funny because he was introducing himself and saying, now, you all love John. You're going to learn what it really means to work with John and what it means to be his son, right? But at the end, it was just amazing words and a lot of love from each other, right? On this experience that I'm pretty sure is not always perfect, and there are challenges on the relationship, but they were able to show a lot of love and care for each other, and at the same time be very effective on the educational side. So that was also very, very cool. On my side, I had two guests as well that did amazing, two digital experts, Vinicius Machado from Brazil and Vicente Jimeno from Spain. Vinicius is a radiologist, owns a chain of radiology imaging centers in Brazil, huge experience on digital, and he shared many topics and many tricks on how to leverage better digital. Vicente is probably the most digital dentist I know, meaning the guy knows absolutely everything, and he shared, all the different tools that he's using beyond the obvious ones, different technologies. So we had a very cool summary of gadgets and tools that a dentist can leverage nowadays in digital. So that was also very, very cool. So we had a very comprehensive amount of information and many fun moments on stage.
Give us some final thoughts as we close this podcast. I feel like you're at the front end of like the best CE experiences in dentistry. What can we anticipate in the future?
After so many years teaching DSD, basically being the main speaker of my programs, I'm really enjoying this role as a moderator. I always loved interviewing people, asking questions, interpreting the answers, asking more questions, being a listener that can dig deeper, can dive deeper into the person and help the person take the best out of them, right? That's what a great moderator should do. And I feel like my career as a communicator had prepared me to be a good moderator, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it and bringing a new perspective to the programs. Inviting all these amazing people. That's another factor that I was able to create the credits and the reputation and the connections in a way that all these top names are willing to do these programs with me. So it's a privilege, but I think that these top professionals are always also enjoying a lot because it's a different way for them to give a lecture with me standing beside them and rephrasing things and asking questions and seeing their content from a different perspective, and many times even helping them explain themselves in a different way and sometimes even better way. So I think that this is a model that is working. I'm loving it, and we will continue to do. As I mentioned, we did it last year with Mike Appa. We did it this year with John Kois, and we're going to do it again next year, same month, same venue, with Miguel Stanley and a group of amazing friends on our next program that is going to be called the Visionary Dentist Summit, Dentistry 3.0.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Christian, thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much.